We ask that you bless the families that are involved in the tragic incident in Lubbock the other week. There's one who's going to have a surgery before long. I ask you to bless that surgery. I ask you to bless the soldiers that are out there protecting us and the emergency responders. In Jesus' name, amen.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberties and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Okay. At this time, any person with business before the court not scheduled on the agenda may speak to the court. No formal action could be taken on these items at this meeting. Each speaker will be limited to 3 minutes. Yes, sir. What's your name?
Lance Barrett.
Okay, Mr.
Is
Barrett.
the rollback on the agenda?
No, sir, it's not.
All right, so my name's Lance Barrett. Some people may know me, most people probably don't. Matt and I, we own Caliper Energy Services. We employ about 55 guys here locally. A lot of guys come to us asking, what should we do? What should we do? I feel like my vote is going to get 31 people fired. And I actually don't know the answer to that. And that's my question without getting into any of the numbers or any of the budgets or where's the decimal at? What's the due process on the 29th if the rollback did happen? Do 31 people lose the job? Is the budget set? Can amendments be made to the budget? And I that's not a loaded question. I honestly don't know. Terry's come and talked to us. He's my commissioner, and I appreciate him talking to us. And when we talked the other day, you'd said that we'd already decided on that budget, and it's already in place if that is to happen. So does that mean, if you guys could take me through that a little bit and try to educate me just a little bit, because I don't know how that works. And I have a lot of people asking me that are voting, and I have my own opinion, but when I'm asked that, I don't know the answer. So I've seen on social media where you guys invite us to come and talk and we can discuss this. So I'm here. I appreciate the decisions you guys have to make and what the situation we're in. It's, again, not from a combative place I'm coming from. It's just, I really want to be educated because people are asking me.
Yes, sir. I understand that.
I mean, how does that work?
Well, we can't do it in this court because it's not on the agenda.
How would I figure that out?
I can talk to you. Any one of the other commissioners, any of the other commissioners can speak to you.
Okay.
I'm more than willing to sit down and talk to you and show you everything.
Yeah, that's one thing a lot of people are asking. How they feel like their vote is firing 31, whatever the number is, 31 people, and not just people that work for me, other people that have other companies. This is what our discussion is. So we're curious, and I feel like in the paper there's a lot of information. On social media, there's these two sides just battling it out, and I don't think there's a lot of good information out there of what's really happening. So I'd be happy to come talk to you guys about it.
Okay, thank you. Okay, anybody else?
Due to the social media threats of protest and crashing a party with the rollback Q&A, we decided to cancel it. This Q&A was planned so that any registered voter could ask questions and get answers. We most likely could have answered Lance's question on Saturday, but we weren't able to. We're just a handful of volunteers. Unlike this court, there's 5 elected officials alone and numerous other elected officials, appointed officials, and hourly county employees and city. We of like minds have sat here and watched the majority of these same people, their family, their friends, attack us, name calling, abusive words, and threaten this question and answer session. After the rollback was verified. We noticed that the commissioners, all all five went and about doing their job, speaking everywhere they had the opportunity. And we just basically had one chance here with the question and answer that was for anyone to come to. And we weren't given that opportunity because it was threatened. Threatened of protests and crashing the party. There's anti-rollback Facebook warrior that paid to sponsor a copybook Facebook page and then proceeds to make these threats, among other statements, which some may very well prove to be liable. One instance was somebody replying, Pizza Inn didn't want to deal with it. They thought it was funny. They thought it was funny that the Pizza Inn lost a lot of business that day. A lot. Those buffets were $12 a pop. There were going to be a lot of people there. So the Pizza Inn suffered. They may have a lawsuit on that matter. I spoke to the business owner, and he thanked us for calling him and letting him know that the threats were made. He appreciated us taking care of his business and his employees and his customers. We have accomplished what we set out to do against the odds. We have had the rollback petition verified, and we're now in a rollback election. I want to thank everybody on the ground and the radio hosts, the TV news people. I'm totally disappointed in the tactics used by this court and others. I just keep remembering there are still a few days left in this race, and I hope every taxpayer wakes up and votes for the rollback. Thank you.
Anybody else have any comments?
I'd like to say something if you wouldn't mind. I'm Richard Dupree, and this morning I got up, had breakfast with Ryan, and since I have had breakfast, I've talked to Mr. Tyler about the Fox truck that was bought after the rollback started. He gave me a very good explanation that was bought with a grant. Mr. McCowan put a real good article on Facebook about the grants that are in the works for the airport. This is the first time I've ever sat in a commissioner's court meeting. And I've been a businessman here since I was able to answer the phone. And I would just like to say thank y'all for the information and keep it up. This town is a good town, and I've kind of been for the rollback a little bit. But as I'm learning the hard work you guys do, I think there has been a real lack of information about how this government really works and this commissioner's court really works. And I think this is a good thing. I've learned a bunch in 2 hours this morning, and I appreciate it. And I just want to encourage you guys, keep the real information coming. And that's all I got to say.
Right. Thank you, Mr. Dupree. Ms. Nessie, did you have some comments?
I'll say good morning. The last time that I was here, I spoke about the intimidation, bullying that had occurred because of the rollback petition. Well, it seems that has not changed, and what happened on Saturday shows that some people have taken the nastiness to a new low. This is both troubling and disturbing. I would have never imagined that in the all-American city of Snyder, citizens would be threatened for attending an event. This should alarm every citizen in Scurry County. This type of tactic is what radicals are using all over the country to shut down anyone with opposing views. Are we going to tolerate this in Scurry County? Are we going to allow some unhinged people to stifle the First Amendment rights and the right of peaceful assembly of certain citizens in this county? If the county judge can go around and speak to people about the rollback, then citizens on the other side of the issue should be able to do the same without the fear of being harmed. I urge you to not be silent on this and to unequivocally condemn every form of intimidation, bullying, and threats of harm. Because if you don't, then in the eyes of the public, you are condoning it. It's unfortunate that the nastiness has also spread to the primary election. What has happened to respecting others and engaging in civil discourse? Hatred and intolerance are fueling division in this county. And the Bible warns us about division in Mark 3:25. If a house be divided against itself, that house cannot stand. And we will reap the consequences if we don't take a stand against the nastiness and hatred. In my opinion, the future of Snyder will not be bright. In fact, it seems a bit dim right now because we have a junior high school that has been ordered to close, a DCOS director that has resigned, and more empty retail buildings. In closing, I encourage us all to be respectful and kind to each other, especially when we have differing opinions. The God that we pray to at the beginning of this meeting expects us to love our neighbor as ourselves.
Thank you, Snissy. Anybody else? Ms. Mize?
The court adopted the 2020 budget in September of 2019, and they came back on December 30th, 2019, to adopt a revised budget in the event of a successful rollback election. I would like to ask the court that if the rollback is successful, will the court consider coming back and adopting a new revised budget that will prevent the closures of some departments as originally adopted?
Thank you, Ms. Mize. Okay,
I've got one more thing.
yes, ma'am, Ms. Eckert.
I've been told that just a few of us have decided to run this county. I'm sorry we haven't. I've been told by Mr. Mayor if I didn't like it to leave. Well, I'm sorry, sir. I will never be leaving. My grandfather came and was born here in 1900 in Scurry County. He lived and died here. My mother was born in 1927, lived here and died here. I left for a job and that was it. And I came back home and I'm not leaving. I just want to make this place a little bit better. A little bit easier for people to live here and pay taxes at a reasonable rate, because every year, the rate changes, and it's supposed to change, but it didn't change this year. There's a formula out there, and there's a reason that there's called an effective rate and a rollback rate, is because every year the formula changes due to what happened the year before, the properties the year before. You said, I don't know where we're gonna get this other part from the rollback. How can we get more? Well, you got new construction, all new construction. You've got anybody that goes out in this town that decides they're gonna build something new. If I decide to put a building on my property, that's gonna be taxed additionally. That's where that 8% comes from most of the time, is from that. Plus you have increased sales tax in Scurry County, which also takes care of some of that too. Now, I'm not gonna get in the nuts and bolts of that because that's for somebody else to do. I'm not a CPA. However, I know one thing. I've been told we're gonna destroy this county. No, we're not, ma'am. We're not destroying the county, not a few of us that decide to hold the rollback election. But when we're all said and done, whether it wins or loses, I gave everybody a right to vote, and that's while I was out here. You can do what you want. And when this is all over, they won't remember who I am, but they're gonna remember all 5 of you. When it comes time to re-elect, I want people to remember that you guys were the ones that set the budget to cut jobs, not me. That was your budget to cut. And when it comes that time to go in there and vote, I want them to realize there's only 5 guys that close departments, only 5. And that's the 5 right around that table. We were told that this table runs the county. Well, you're gonna have to own it, not me. Because I'm just one person with a few people, maybe 5 or 6 of us went out there busting our butts to get the petition signed, to give everybody that opportunity to vote. But you 5 are the ones that are going to be held accountable, not us. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Eckert. I am going to address one thing, and looking at this, no formal action can be taken on these items at this meeting. Doesn't say I can't address it. So as far as the threatening and all of that, as far as your meeting that was going to go this weekend, this court had nothing to do with that. There are citizens that disagree with you that have started their own page. You started your page, somebody else started their page. That had nothing to do with Scurry County employees or court. So just to make that clear.
I did not say it had to do with the court. I said
Okay,
threats
it
were
was-
made.
Okay, it was implied. All right, we're gonna go ahead and move on to presentation and discussion of department head committee and board reports. Did y'all look over these?
Yes.
Yeah. that's right. Any questions about them?
Need some more people to speak through Scurry County. No, they look good to me.
We don't need a vote, do we?
No.
All right, court to consider approval of previous court minutes.
As I looked over the minutes, and I think that they're appropriate and in good order, and I would make a motion that we approve.
Second.
All in favor? All right, anything to discuss on interprecinct project schedule and staffing? Rain help y'all out?
You bet. Sound like you're gonna get some more
Today, this evening?
tonight and tomorrow.
We're
So-
not late.
All right. Court to consider accepting donations by county entities. That would be the senior center. $665. Is that the only one?
Any other donations? You know what?
That's it?
I'd love to.
I didn't get any other reports from anybody else.
Okay.
Senior
So-
center.
I make a motion that we accept donations as presented.
All in favor? All right, court to consider going out for bids on fuel, oil, and grease. Are there any changes that you want to make to this at all as far as the specs? Y'all happy with the specs on it?
We might want to make sure that during this process that, whoever is chosen at the end of the bid process, that all of the department heads are,
Aware.
notified. Yes.
Notified? Sure.
So that nobody uses an official source.
Absolutely. And so, Judge, we usually, as far as fuel and oil and grease, we go out for bids on that. And so I would like to take all of these together
Oh,
if possible.
okay.
And just.
All the way down to scrap metal and iron, gravel and asphalt as well.
And, go out for bids for every one of them, and then we come back and do separate them.
Yeah, do A through
B.
B through.
E, B through E.
Okay. Just wanted to check and make sure y'all were good with the specs on those.
Certainly.
Okay. Anybody want to make a motion?
I just.
Oh, you did. All right, is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
And to open these when?
Good question.
We need at least,
Let's run through 2 weekends.
At least
2 weeks.
yeah,
Yeah.
we're gonna have to look in papers, so.
Mhm.
Look at the calendar. Today is 21st. Meeting of the 4th. That would give it this weekend of the 1st and 2nd. And then we have a meeting on the 4th.
That should be ample time.
I don't think that's the day we'll need to, I think that's also the one we'll need to
Canvas.
canvas.
And so I'll add that to my motion, Joe.
Did we vote?
Not yet.
All in favor? All right. Court to consider acceptance of county assessor collector's annual continuing education certificate. Looks like the hours were done.
Judge, I make a motion we accept the county assessor collector's annual continuing education certificate.
All in favor? All right, court to discuss and consider temporary daytime closure, no through traffic, OCR 264 for road repair. What you got going on?
I don't know exactly what day we'll do this, according to all this rain and stuff.
Right.
But, and the reason that we're doing it, I think it'll cut our time in half, redoing the road, because we don't have to mess with daytime traffic, and we'll put the deals out. And there's one house I know for sure that we're gonna have to keep clean where they can get in and out. There's no way they can get in and out, but we'll be able to do that. And I've done talked to him. He's satisfied. Just when we can, I think we can do it in a week to 10 days, where it'd take us 2.5, 3 weeks dodging traffic. And while I'm talking about that, I went to, we was having a little trouble, and I'm not gonna name the names of who we was having trouble with. But I went to 3 trucking companies, and they promised, not on a stack of Bibles, but they promised that they would talk to each and every hand about slowing down. And I take them at their word. I believe they're going to do it. And, you know, if we knew they were going to do it, we might not have to shut it down. But
Right.
we're going to try this one. We still got roads that we're going to have to do too. So if we can get by on this one, well, maybe we can keep the others more open.
Okay.
For the folks. And
So there's
I
quite a
think
bit
safety played a
Right.
bunch in it. We just, of course, I will say one thing on the 253. We had a hill there too that was hurting us. You know, they'd come over that hill, and even though we had signs back down there that until you see a man, you just don't know where to slow down. I mean, you wait till you see the man, and then you try to stop.
Right.
So I think this will be better for everybody. And I appreciate the ones that I went to and talked. They was awful nice folks, and you know, want to do everything they could to help. So
Sure.
I think that's the kind of county that we got.
Okay. So there's a lot of truck traffic on this road.
Oh,
then?
they're drilling all that in there.
Okay.
And you know, they're not just rigs,
Mhm.
gravel haulers, and making new locations, and water haulers, and just everything.
Okay.
So, and I'm glad they're working that hard.
Sure.
Better for us.
Absolutely.
This doesn't stop them from being able to get their locations that they have there on that road.
No, this won't. No, because there's ways they can go around it, but they just hadn't been wanting to. You know, and again, when you're if you're working by the hour, you don't mind driving a little slow. If you're working by the load, move.
You're right, you know.
Yeah, we're coming in. But it wasn't nobody intentionally doing, you know, it's just, that's the way it is when you're trying to make a hand, well, you're trying to make a hand. So I got no qualms about it. Just, and it was awful nice.
You talked to all of them, the trucking companies, about what you're gonna do.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Yeah.
I went there.
Well, I'm just making
Yeah,
sure.
yeah. I didn't go to all of them, but
Well,
you know, I missed this man over here. But you know, all of them that we counted going too fast.
mhm.
I didn't go to others because they was doing all right.
Well, I make the motion that Commissioner Precinct 2 be allowed the daytime closed County Road 264 for repair.
All in favor? All right, court to discuss and consider implementing an order for disbursement of salaries and routine office expenses per Senate Bill 354-86 legislative session. This is one that just unties our hands.
Yes, this is just a continuation of the one we did it in May of last year. Normally in the past, we would do it the first of every year, but then the Senate bill changed, so this is just to update it and make sure that we have the authority to go ahead and process payroll and regular bills like such as utilities.
Right, whereas before we had to vote on everything.
Yes, yeah, they come before Commissioner's Court every single time. You will still see these in court at the following court,
Mhm.
on the payables packets, but it just won't be every single time before payroll or bills are paid.
Right.
Helps to keep the bills paid in a timely manner.
Also, make sure that we get discounts that we are given by
Yes.
so many of the vendors, which adds up to a lot. Judge, I make the motion that we implemented the order for disbursement of salaries, routine office expenses for Senate Bill 354-86 legislative session.
Second.
All in favor? Court to consider certification of additional revenues in the form of a supplemental payment from TAP for the ambulance. That's,
This is the ambulance that was wrecked in Lubbock. And this is we had already received one check from them, but the damage was a little bit more extensive than what they originally had thought. So the insurance sent us another check for $4,425.94 so that we can get the ambulance repaired.
I'll make a motion, we accept the supplemental payment from TAC for the ambulance repair.
all in favor? Court to consider certification of additional revenues in the form of a refund from Walmart for defective equipment.
These were some cameras, I believe, that Trey had tried. He purchased them from Walmart last year,
Mhm.
and they're just digital cameras, but they were not they didn't work very well.
Okay.
So he took them back and got his money back. It was $438, but because it was out of last year and then revenue unanticipated, so we need to certify that.
Make the motion to certify the additional revenue from a refund from Walmart.
All in favor? All right, line item transfers and budget amendments. Let's see.
There's one budget amendment. This is EMS. It's for the 47,285 for the first responder vehicle that they spoke of earlier. Money that was put into his EMS reserve line for his grant.
Grant money's always good.
Yeah, especially when it's free.
Yeah.
You wanna do the budget amendment?
Sure, we can
By
go ahead and
itself.
do, yeah, we do that one by itself. Let's go ahead and do these.
Make a motion to approve the budget amendment for the purchase EMS vehicle.
Second.
All in favor? All right, accounts payable.
Accounts payable is $869,423.35.
Make the motion, we approve accounts payable.
Second.
All in favor? At this time, we'll go into executive session. And so we're going to discuss personnel matters. County Welfare Department heads interview with applicants. It's Kevin saying.